What's up, Bug Dog with D&E in the garage? Our Friday upload this week was going to be something pretty good, but I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I'm friggin' exhausted. This has been a hell of a week, and so I'm gonna do what always gets me back to center, what gets me zen. I'm just gonna spend a little time in the garage. All right, on the deck for tonight. Wife's car needs an oil change. Needs its second oil change of all time. As a matter of fact, we're going to be throwing in some Mobil 1. I just can't bring myself to put the Super Tech in the brand new one yet, but I thought I'd take you guys along with me because this is an important piece of what we do, man. We don't. I think it's a 13 mil that I need for the spill plug on this thing. We don't just work on cars to save money. We work on cars because it's who we are, and it's relaxing. Oh man, I know a lot of people that the idea of having to come home after a long day at work and change their own oil, miserable to them. Absolutely freaking miserable. Where's the hood latch? I hope if I could see it. There it is. But to me, it's only Thursday night right now. After a long week, it was a hell of a week, man. I had a lot of stuff going on that's out of the ordinary. The kid was sick. Just an exhausting week. The WJ broke. You want to see something real quick? Totally off topic. I'm filling up the other day, and I hear a crunch. And when I get to work, I look underneath. My skid plate rotted out. And my gas tank was falling out. I don't know if y'all can see that right now. So these are ratchet straps that are currently holding my my gas tank in, man. Can't make that up. I didn't have time to find another skid plate, so ratchet straps have been doing the trick. It's just been an exhausting week. So we're just going to change the oil, and we're going to take our time doing it. I'm not going to rush it. In fact, I'm most likely going to really take my time. Here's a good tip I learned from an old timer. Whenever you're going to drain the fluid out of anything, you always take the fill plug out first. That way, if God forbid there's some reason you can't get the fill plug out later, you're not stuck with an engine, a differential, a transfer case, a transmission that now you can't put fluid into. This is a real big deal on differentials and transfer cases, where those, sometimes they're hex, sometimes they're torques, whatever though, they get real seized in there. So, you know, it's very unlikely that on a Jeep with 16,000 miles, the oil fill plug is not going to come out the oil cap here, but still, it's just good practice. Now you all will have to forgive me for the angle of the camera there. I recognize you can't see anything, but I assure you there's nothing to see. I'm just pulling a drain plug. Oh man. Now, I know a lot of people that would have jacked this thing up, put it on stands or ramps, but I don't need to. My arm can make it under there, and I don't know if this Jeep is just an anomaly. I don't work on too many car-sized vehicles, which this obviously is. Nobody's pretending that a 2018 Compass is in the same category with my WJ or my XJ or your ZJ or whatever else, but I do really like, whether it's a Fiat with a Jeep badge or whatever friggin' else, it's very easy to do the oil change. I can reach the spill plug. It's only about 24 inches in, and then let's see, can you see on camera where I'm pointing? The oil filter's right here, sticking right down. So as soon as the oil's spilled out, I'll replace the plug, pull this bucket back, and then I do the filter right there. It's nice. It's nice. Like I was saying, there's something that I find to be very zen about changing oil. And I've tried to analyze why. First of all, I like getting a little grease on my hands. I like this right here. I got used motor oil on my hands, and I dig that. But I think what it really comes down to for car guys like us is that we know we're right. At the age I'm at right now, having done it X number of times, I'm not going to mess up an oil change. I have a lot of confidence there. Even if I'm replacing spark plugs or something, I'm aware of other things going on. I can do an oil change in my sleep. I know it's going to be right. And I think that comfort is why after a week like this one, I'm totally game to come down here and crawl around on the ground, get a little greasy and dirty. I know a lot of guys that might head to the bar after a week like this. It's the wrong attitude, man. Ain't nothing wrong with a beer at the end of the day, but if you can channel your, I'm going to call it exhaustion right now, for lack of a better word. You can channel that into something a little better than just wasting time on a bar stool. You're going to be a better man for it, and I submit you will be happier. I came in the door after work today dog tired. I could have gone to sleep. Now by the time I'm done with this oil change and this video, because honestly another thing that zens me out is talking to you guys. We have so many viewers now that have been regular viewers for over a year, 2 years, that you guys are my friends. And y'all know who you are. I mean, we talk, you know, I put up 3 videos a week on a good week, and you guys comment on every one of them or near every one of them. And, you know, I know you, I know your Jeeps, I know stuff about you, so you guys are my friends. So I'm down here, I'm doing an oil change with my friends. By the way, I just got the filter off. No tool, no filter socket. I mean, it was right there, super easy. I'm a big fan of that. That matters to me. I've had vehicles, or I've worked on vehicles where even an oil change is kind of a nightmare. And that makes me like the car less, you know? The fact that this oil change is so easy makes me like this Jeep. And we do like this Jeep, make no mistake about it. This 2018 Jeep Compass we like very much. Now, my hand's coated in Earl, so let me get that cleaned up and we'll continue our conversation. Now, a lot of people have asked me what oil I use, what filters I use. The oil changes depending on the vehicle, but the filter's always Mopar, assuming I'm working on a Jeep, which I usually am. Let's see, we're gonna get a little bit of oil on that gasket. I got more on my finger than I meant to. Making a bit of a mess. I've just always had good luck. I've never had a problem with the Mopar filters. I figure, how bad could they be? You know, they're made for this vehicle. I really like them on the 4-liter. I've actually had bad experiences on 4-liters with just about every other filter except for Mopar. I feel very strongly about Mopar on the 4-liter. I use it on the 4.7, and now I'm gonna use it on this guy right here. Another one that I've heard good things about but haven't used much of is Wix. I've heard good things about Wix. Obviously Bosch is good, but you're paying for that. You're really paying. Sometimes $12 a filter, sometimes more. I mean, the Mopars are like $8. I think it might have been $7 for this little one, and maybe $8, close to $9 for the bigger ones that go on the 4-liter and the 4.7. That's okay with me. Let's get that guy on. We'll clean up the excess oil. When we get up top, I'm going to tell you why we bought this Jeep, because I'm sure some of you are wondering, and I'm sure some of you are going to have some unpleasant words for me in the comments down there. Alrighty, I don't talk about this car, on the channel very much. We got it last August. It is my wife's daily driver. It is a 2018 Jeep Compass. That's going to be your 2nd-gen Jeep Compass. If you saw my video earlier this week about how to fix the Jeep line, I think this is what they should have called the new Cherokee. But they didn't. Nobody at Jeep listens to me. They won't return my calls. They've put me on the block list. We bought this vehicle to replace the Commander, which even with the 3.7 was a gas hog, and was honestly more vehicle than we needed. We bought a 7-passenger because honestly, you know, we got the Commander really just because my wife wanted a Commander. She's like, that's a cool Jeep, I want to drive that. So we did. We loved it. We loved our Commander, I've told you that, but we needed something a little bit smaller. We were looking for her, possibly Subaru Impreza. That was too small, the hatchback we were looking at. Didn't want to go with the new Cherokee. I know a lot of you have them. I'm not hating on them. They're just not for me. They're just not for me. So we test drove this Compass, and we really liked it. And it suited our needs. It's real good on gas too. This thing is great in the snow. It's the only all-wheel drive system I've ever had that wasn't a Subaru that felt like a Subaru. Subaru stands alone when it comes to all-wheel drive until Jeep's Active Drive. For a small, never have to think about it system, this thing is great. Another interesting thing about this Jeep, it doesn't have designated oil intervals, right? You reset the timer. As long as you use 0.20 full synthetic high quality oil, it figures out based on your driving conditions and the environmental conditions when you need your oil changed. It's pretty wild. Of course, that's a feature that could go wrong, so I always watch it. I tell my wife, listen, if it gets to 8,000 and it still hasn't told you, we're changing it anyway. But usually around 7,500 is where it tells us we need it. Now this thing takes 5.5 quarts, which is crazy to me, but that's what they suggest. 5.5 quarts in a 2.4 liter straight 4. Alright, we'll start it up for a minute and let that circulate, make sure our levels are good. I will tell you some things I don't like about this car. The throttle response is absolute garbage. It's not what I would call, it's not that it's not fun to drive, because it's peppy, you know, it's just a little peppy car. It's not fast or anything, but it is peppy, but the throttle response sucks. The seats are not great, but not terrible. You kind of get used to them. They're like 10-way adjustables, so, you know, they're not inherently comfortable, but you can get some comfort out of them. I'm actually going to add just slightly more. We're just below, well, I guess it's cold. Yeah, we're going to leave it where it is and we'll check it tomorrow when she gets home from work. That should be pretty good. We got this car so that we had one car in the fleet that we didn't have to think about. I'm constantly dealing with gas tanks falling out of my Jeep. With the Commander, she didn't have any issues, but it was about to hit 200,000 and I was worried issues were going to come. I know with this thing I don't have to think about it. At the very least, for the next several years, it's under warranty. Somebody else has to deal with it if anything major goes wrong. I know people talk about the transmission. I don't know, man. It hasn't been my experience. I know what they say about them. We bought one anyway. We drove it. We like it. I'm confident. My goal for this car, and you guys are going to laugh at me. I know you are. My daughter's 1.5. I want her to learn to drive in this car. That's my goal. That's my goal. I got to keep this thing on the road for another 15 years. That's the goal. I'll tell you what though, first time I see one of these drive lines in the junkyard, I'm going to pull it. Have a whole rebuilt engine right there. So I got to tell you what, I feel better. Oh, I do. I feel better, much more relaxed. We got a video out of it. I hope you guys enjoyed a casual conversation, a weekday shop night with D&E in the garage. I'd love to know down in the squawk boxes what you think about what I was saying about car guys needing to work on cars, because it's the one place where life really makes sense, you know. It's the one place I know I'm right. And being in the garage, it's the one place I'm the boss. I'm not punching anybody else's clock. I'm not answering anyone else's questions. I'm just doing me. Taking care of an engine, an internal combustion engine, which I love. Making videos for y'all, which I actually also love. And being around Jeeps. Even if they're Fiats under the skin, I still love all of them. So let me know what you guys think. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.